Hello and welcome to my first Infinity and 5 battle report for ITS-17. The factions are Military Orders versus Jurisdictional Command of Tunguska, and the mission is Corporate Appropriation. Originally, I was meant to do a battle report for a tournament I registered to compete at the end of November, but I had to cancel on the day because I was sick. So instead, I did a report for my casual game and my weekly gaming group. I had different lists prepared for the tournament. Since then, I have decided to scrap them and start again with the Military Orders Action Pack as a foundation for my list. As you can see, I built a sample list to start from using the troopers present in the Action Pack. I selected the basic and reasonable profiles that match the product description so I can see the total support weapon cost and points. After some thought, here is my selected list. After the game, I'll play this list some more because I like how it can handle most situations and seemed good for competitive play despite my major loss for this game. Excuse me. So in here I had a corps consisting of a Knight Commander with a +1 Lieutenant Order, a Crozier Paramedic and a Crozier Multi-Sniper Rifle. So the Multi-Sniper Rifle is the main ARO piece for this list, and it is backed up by the +1 Special Dice, being in a level 3 core because the Knight Commander counts as a Crozier. And they also have a +3 to discover and +1 to dodge. The main attack piece being the Knight of the Holy Sepulchre, NCO, with AP Heavy Machine Gun, and that's the reason why I chose the Knight Commander +1 Lieutenant Order, because he'll have 2 Lieutenant Orders to give him extra fuel to run up the board and do what he needs to do as a main attack piece. I had a duo consisting of a Knight of Justice Hacker with a multi-marksman rifle which has PS6, pitches and decharges, and teamed up with a Knight Hospitaller with a multi-rifle PS6 and a Tinbot Firewall -3 just to give the Knight of Justice some protection. Not that he really needs it because he has a BTS of 9 and armor 5, so he's quite durable. Fugazi Drones Bot just as an auto generator and DZ defender. And in this list I included a Knight of Santiago combat jump killer hacking device because after listening to the Loss of Lieutenant podcast talking about how to have more utility out of your combat jump troopers or air deployment troopers, I thought I'd give the Knight of Santiago a go on the table as a fast specialist because normally he has a 6-2 movement, but with super jump jet propulsion he'll have an 8-2 movement. And 8 inches is nothing to sneeze at, and that makes him quite a fast mover on the table. And Group 2, I have a Peacemaker with Oxbot 3 Bravo with a mine layer, and I've always found it to be just a good midfield obstruction. Peacemaker has a repeater, the Oxbot mine layer has a mine layer, so you can start with basically 3 pieces of material in the midfield. The Escort Sergeant with Neurosynetics and the Oxbot with a heavy rocket launcher. And I was just testing this piece out. It was a toss-up between this Escort Sergeant or the Black Friar heavy rocket launcher. They're both exactly the same, 1.5 support weapon cost and 22 points. But I just thought I'd give this one a try and see how it goes. And I included a Trinitarian forward observer mine layer with a deployable repeater because the Knight of Justice needs a bit of board coverage, so the deployable repeater can start already on the table in the deployment zone and just provide some hacking coverage. And the standard Warcore 360 visor because I had 5 points to spare. Now, as you can see, this is a very small list. It is actually 12 miniatures in total because I'm working on learning to play a limited insertion list since I switched to Military Orders, and I'm doing this because after watching the channel Sneaky Snake, he came up with a limited insertion list, but it ended up being 13 troopers because 3 troopers were Trinitarians and they're all in hidden deployment, so they start the game off the table. So when you present yourself in round 1, if you're going first turn, your opponent who's going second cannot strip 2 orders from you because the rules are you need to have more than 10 orders consisting of regular, tactical awareness and irregular. So if you can keep your miniatures on the table to 10, and they all generate just a regular order, then your opponent cannot strip orders from you. And having the Knight Commander there also gives 2 Lieutenant orders, which can be used on the Knight of Holy Sepulchre. So that is 12 orders in total in the beginning, not including the Knight of Santiago and the Trinitarian, because they start off board. However, for this game, the Knight of Santiago started on board, and I kept the Trinitarian in hidden deployment. But that's the aim of playing with this list, is just to get used to doing limited insertion lists with more than 10 troopers, but only starting the game with 10 on the table and bringing the other troopers on as needed. So the mission is corporate appropriation, and here are the objectives. At the end of the game, or everything is at the end of the game, have the enemy prototype captured for 2 objective points, and to have that enemy prototype in your deployment zone is 1 additional objective point. So you can gain or score 3 points just by doing that. Then having your prototype not captured is 1 objective point, but you must make sure that your prototype has been destroyed. If you destroy your prototype, that's another 3 objective points, and then having more panoplies acquired, more items acquired from the panoplies, you also gain 1 objective point, and then you have 3 classifieds on top of that as well. So all up, you're looking at 11 objective points in total. Now, I only read the objectives and rules on the game night, which is probably the likely cause of my major loss. Since it was only a casual game, I was more interested in how to play the mission and what lessons I can learn from it afterwards. Excuse me. And after the game, afterwards my opponent and I agreed that this mission highly favours going first. Because while a player cannot destroy their own prototype in round 1, a player can capture their opponent's prototype in round 1 and then run it back to safety in their deployment zone. So you can score 3 objective points quickly in round 1 if you play the table correctly. And then you have rounds 2 and 3 to attempt to destroy your own, giving you a total of 6. And then if you can achieve that, that's pretty much a good scoring points for tournament play. And then you can use the other 3 classified objectives, depending on what they are, to bump it up to 9 objective points. So it's a really good mission to score objective points. And now for the game. So Tunguska won the lieutenant role and elected to go first. Military orders kept deployment and allowed Tunguska to deploy first. This is Tunguska's deployment zone. So going from left to right, off screen there is a flash pulse bot. There is a Sasha down here, and another trooper I cannot remember. Mary Problems is up here. We have a Wolfgang and Miranda and a bounty hunter as a Harris. This Kriza Borak HMG is role playing as a TR bot with Thunderbolt. Down here we have Dan McConnelly. We have a Mimetism 3 -3 camo token here. We have Fiddler up here, and we have the Anaconda down here with a missile bot here, and off screen is another flash pulse bot. And the reserve drop was an Interventor with Hacking Device Plus here, which turned out to be the Lieutenant. This is Military Orders Deployment Zone. Going from left to right, we have the Knight Hospitaller with Timbot -3 here, and my reserve drop was the Knight of Justice, which went next to it and made a duo fire team. This Kriza Borak is role playing as the Knight of Holy Sepulchre with 1 Hollow Echo here and another Hollow Echo here represented by just the silhouette markers. Have a flash pulse bot here covering the DZ. We have the Order Sergeant Heavy Rocket Launcher Neurosynetics here with his Oxbot here. We have in the midfield the Peacemaker proxied by my Lucanod with a flash pulse, with the Oxbot here, and the Mind for that Mind Layer Oxbot is just here on the other side of the partial cover. We have up here the Warcore, and we have the Knight of Santiago Killer Hacker Combat Drop Trooper here, prone. An EM mine here which belongs to the Crozier Multi-Sniper Rifle. The Knight Commander chain of command, proxy, hollow masking is just a plain Crozier with Blitzen, and down here is the Crozier Paramedic. My HVT is there, and I have a repeater up the top here which covers over my opponent's prototype, and I have a Trinitarian and hidden deployment in this area here. Now this is military orders prototype over here, and I think that is everything. Oh, and my 3 classifieds for this mission were net undermined, capture, and telemetry. Round 1. So Tunguska goes first, and during the impetuous phase, Dan McConnelly moves out and around and throws smoke here for Fiddler. And the Anaconda moves out to around here, and basically I'll just talk about the whole entire tactic. Comes out here, the Order Sergeant and the Sniper Rifle from the Crozier attempt to have a shot here and here, and the Anaconda eventually comes out to here. Along the way, the Warcore adds to the attack as well. The Order Sergeant with Heavy Rocket Launcher manages to put a wound on the Anaconda, but also dies in the process during the consecutive orders, and the Crozier Multi-Sniper Rifle also dies to the Anaconda. And with this, the tag in its order to collect the prototype is flash pulsed by the Warcore, and the tag picks up the prototype, and at the end of the order becomes stunned from the Warcore. And then the rest of the move is basically just the tag pretty much just running straight down here, all the way behind this building here. That's where it ends up. Let me just clear the board a bit. And the next order, Dan McConnelly moves out up to the Panoply and extracts movement 8-4, and then Fiddler super jumps her way down along here and up to here and throws a drop bear around here somewhere, and she manages to kill the Warcore in the whole process of that movement, or that movement phase and whatnot. So that's the end of Tunguska's turn. Military Order's turn. The command token is spent to move the Trinitarian in hidden deployment from Group 2 into Group 1, and the plan here was just to run up the Trinitarian, place a deployable repeater next to the Anaconda and try and brick it if I can, so put it in isolated and immobilized B state. So what happens here is the Trinitarian, which is here, moves its way around up to here, shoots Mary Problem in the back, re-camos, moves up to here, and places a deployable repeater here. And this covers the TR bot there and the Anaconda, which is now here. I end up putting Mary Problems into unconscious state, and then once the deployable repeater is down, the Knight of Justice, which is just off the table here, I mean it's on the table but the photo didn't take it, attempts to try and isolate and immobilize B, the TR bot, and unfortunately it just fails. And using the NCO skill with the 2 lieutenant orders from the Knight Commander, sorry, it wasn't the Knight Commander chain of command, it was a Knight Commander lieutenant with +1 lieutenant order. My actual Knight of Holy Sepulchre is this one here, and he eventually just moves up to here with the Hollow Echoes moving up as well. And one Hollow Echo up here ended up being shot by the TR bot and removing it, and then because this one, which was now here, is outside of the coherency check, it just disappeared. So now my actual Knight of Justice moves up to here and is revealed. And didn't realise, because it's the first time I've learning Hollow Echo, turns out because I was outside line of fire, I can just re-enter Hollow Echo state automatically, So I ended up having 3 hollow echoes, the original one here, 1 hollow echo there, 1 hollow echo there, and obviously I could choose whichever one I wanted to be the original one, the actual trooper. Oops, sorry, wrong button. So my plan was at this stage to reposition and to use my Knight of Holy Sepulchre to make a run down along the left flank to try and secure or try and take out the Anaconda. So basically sort of run down this direction, come around here, and then shoot at the tag, which I could just see here. Because when you're looking at my opponent's side, you can actually, there's a small window where I can actually make a line of fire. So that was the plan, to push him up and to use that. And I ended up moving my Peacemaker up to here, just to put the repeater coverage over this one as well, and through there. And the Oxbot moved down into the objective room while placing a mine up on the parapet here, which I know we couldn't, but my opponent was said, yeah, just go ahead, like, if you can balance it, why not? So I had a mine over there, which was no point because my prototype was captured. So I was just sort of securing that flank from Fiddler. Let me just clear the board quickly. Okay. On to round 2. During the impetuous phase, Denmar Connolly moves forward and throws smoke covering Fiddler on the roof. So he moves from here up to here and then throws smoke around here. Get it? Fiddler on the roof. Oh no, it's a lame joke. So Tunguska's High Command orders the bounty hunter Harris to break, and at this point Wolfgang is being instructed to complete the mission. So what happens is Wolfgang pops down here, takes out the deployed repeater, and my Trinitarian, I think my Trinitarian went unconscious last turn, but I can't remember how that happened. But anyway, the Trinitarian is unconscious, and Wolfgang comes down to destroy the deployed repeater. Whilst in the process, the Knight of Justice hacker, which is now here, attempts to spotlight Wolfgang and is successful and completes my classified telemetry. Tunguska orders down 2 speedballs, a Vita Pack drops here, I believe, and I think it's not auto repairs, it was overkill, I think, was here. But it may have been auto repairs, or the token was just representing auto repairs, I cannot clearly remember. And they both land exactly where they're meant to go. And so Wolfgang comes along here, picks up the Vita Pack, and then moves up behind here to revive Mary Problems. And along the way, my Peacemaker takes a shot and causes a wound on Wolfgang, and he goes into no wound incapacitation. Once that's done, he comes around and shoots and destroys my Peacemaker, and then berserks into his console, and after a few orders also destroys his prototype. And then comes back up the roof here, and then Mary Problems, Wolfgang, and the Anaconda tag put into suppressor fire state with a coordinated order. Fiddler jumps down this way to here, places a decharge on this train and completes sabotage, and then basically just super jumps away underneath this bridge just behind this piece of train here and goes prone. Whilst doing that, fires the Gizmo kit into my Trinitarian Forward Observer and completes nano espionage for Tunguska. So that was a pretty busy round for Tunguska, and Wolfgang basically did all the work. For military orders turn, they had a lot of work to do to try and pull back some sort of a win, possibly a draw. So this round was basically to set up for a round 3 attack and to try and score a few points. So the Knight of Holy Sepulchre from here moves up into this position behind the red building. One of the hollow echoes removes the drop air, and on the way they shoot Denmar Connolly and put Denmar Connolly dead, and this camo token behind here reveals to be a Heckler with jammer and places a fast panda just up here. The Knight of Justice duo move forward. Knot of Justice moves up to there, and the Hospitaller moves up to here to reset and just to cover off and provide fire down that lane there. Let me just tidy up the board a bit. And then from there, the Knight of Santiago super jumps his way along here and eventually makes his way up to the stairs here and goes prone. And basically tries to avoid Wolfgang's suppressive line of fire through here, which he does successfully because the movement, it took a while to realise the line of fire angles, and I realised I could find a small window where the Silhouette 2 cannot be seen along this route here, and that basically put him outside that fire. And I basically put the Santiago at the stairs here because I want him to sort of jump up and jump down and just take out this TR bot and the Bounty Hunter up there and just be ready to push forward as an alternative assault piece for the tag. Okay, round 3. So Tunguska, excuse me, Tunguska reformed the duo fire team with Miranda and the Bounty Hunter. And they basically move out to here, down to here, and the Bounty Hunter uses a shotgun and takes out the Knight of Santiago in one order. I mean, it took a few orders to reach there, but he pops his head around and shoots, and then that's the end of my Santiago. He goes unconscious, unfortunately. Mary Problems from behind this building moves away into here and fires a pitcher down here, which covers my Knight duo. And she tries to perform Trinity against the Knight of Justice, and my Knight of Justice has a battle of willpower with Mary, and he chooses to use Oblivion, and Mary ends up being an isolated state, which is a good outcome for me because it shuts down her hacking devices, and so she is basically null and void and no longer a threat to my pieces. And that's a problem solved for the Knights. Filler decides to shoot the Knight of Holy Sepulchre, but ends up entering no wound incapacitated state. And with the Anaconda feeling threatened, it moves from this position here, just around here, and sets up with a silhouette marker here. And that is it. Let me just clean the picture. I mean the picture, not the picture. Okay, the Knights, a bit of an uphill battle at this stage. So the plan of using the Holy Sepulchre to move forward and shoot works. The Knight of Holy Sepulchre moves, I think, up to here and has a line of fire to the tag here and ends up shooting it. And unfortunately there weren't enough wounds caused. It was only 2, not 3, and the tag pilot ejects under Eclipse smoke, and this is protecting him from further attacks and also holding on to the military order prototype. With a few orders remaining, the Knight of Justice duo move into contact with unconscious Heckler and complete capture, and also along the way just doing a net undermine in my enemy's half the deployment of midfield, and I completed net undermine along the way. So that was basically it. I was unfortunate to not have the Anaconda successfully destroyed, so my opponent still had my prototype captured whilst destroying his, completing a couple of classifieds and really just putting a lot of pressure on the military orders. And that is the end of the game. Now for the after action review. So here are the results for the game. As you can see, my opponent had scored pretty much all the objectives. I only scored 3, my opponent scored 10 in total. And yeah, it was just down to bad planning essentially, but kudos to him for succeeding in everything. So what did I learn? My biggest problem was my deployment. Upon a quick reading of the objectives and mission rules, I hastily developed a plan that involved going first. Unfortunately, I went second, but I was stuck in my mind about deploying for first turn. I set up my troopers to cover my opponent's prototype and left mine exposed. I was too focused on trying to run for my opponent's prototype without consideration that my opponent was going to do that first. So my deployment failed me from the start, which is a good example why I think deployment should not be underestimated when building lists and planning for them to fight in missions. How a player approaches a mission will determine how to deploy for that mission. Incorrectly placing troopers, I have observed, not just this game but previous ones, means for the rest of the game I am playing catch up and having to redirect my troopers to achieve a failed plan. The old maxim, failing to plan means planning to fail, is appropriate here. Following from the first, going into the mission blind and only reading it on game night is what contributed to my failure. Since I am playing with a faction that has rules I have never played myself, it is a steep learning curve. My biggest rule issue was Holy Projector. I did not gain efficiency from the Knight of the Holy Sepulchre. I only saw it as an attack piece with a big gun. Understanding the Holy Projector rules will allow me to better utilise this trooper profile. I was also testing out the Knight of Santiago combat drop, killer hacking device profile. After listening to the Lost Lieutenant's video about using air deployment troopers, I was interested in using the profile as an on-table trooper that is a fast specialist. While this did work, I exposed a valuable trooper which ended up dying afterwards. And I realised the killer hacking device has cyber mask, and I could have used this to enter impersonation state, allowing me safer passage across the table and not having to look at all the angles to find a safe movement path. And finally, this is a common setup I have started to employ. In most casual and competitive games, most of my opponents have some sort of air deployment trooper that can land in my deployment zone. It is just good practice to deploy for such an occasion. So this is the end of the battle report. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, the dice decide the outcome.